Now, if I'd have told you in August that in January West Ham will be 3 points above Tottenham, West Ham will be just 2 points off of Manchester United, I'd have thought that we were in a European battle. We're not. It's a funny old season, and we're here to round it up once again. Josh and Sean join me as always. How are we, gents?
Not too bad. How are you?
I'm all right, mate. Not bad.
All right. You all right, Sean? Well, you must have put the football to the back of your head then.
No, I've watched a fair bit of it. I've been reading and the odd little rant here and there, but voice of reason, me, Jake. You know that voice of reason.
Well, we'll come on to the voice of reason a little bit later on as he dissects what has happened. A funny weekend of football, actually. Some funny results. We're going to go through a couple of them. We're going to start at one of the funny ones as we go to the Amex. David Moyes, new Everton manager. This was always going to happen, wasn't it? Pops up with a classic Moyes away victory, 1-0. I didn't watch it, but I don't need to watch it to know what happened, Josh.
Yeah, it was. I did watch this one. It was a grim game of football. Brighton just had all the ball. Everton just sat back. Typical Moyes performance, really. Everton sat back, couldn't really break them down. Long ball over the top. Better chased it down. The fella on balls it because Bett's putting a bit of pressure on him. Everton get a penalty, they score. So 1-0 up at half time. Second half, Brighton up the tempo a little bit, but still struggle to break Everton down, really. You just see the game out. It's sort of what is the vintage Moyes away, 1-0, that type of performance, which I think, that's where Everton are going to get the points this season, just most likely 1-0s at home or the odd 1-0 away where you wouldn't expect to get a win like this one. He has turned it around a good bit, to be fair, since he's come in. 3 games, 2 wins, and 1 loss. Against Tottenham, I thought they looked a lot better. They've thrown a few more men forward in attacks, which they didn't do under Dyche. Although it's obviously still going to be negative football, when you're getting under Moyes. I think it's still more expansive than it was under Dyche. And it's a bit more counter-attacking and pressing-based, whereas Dyche was just pure, get a point, really. So I think the Everton fans definitely a lot happier. I think it is more to do with the fact it's been there before. I think if they just appointed David Moyes and he'd never, he wasn't already sort of a legend there, then I don't think they'd be happy at all. But I think because what he's done there before, they're happy to let him come back and steady the ship, really, which I think he should be able to do. He got off to a good start. If you can get him back to being an established mid-table club, I think they'll take that.
But Josh, did the ship need to be steadied to start with, though? Because they weren't going to go down, right? They weren't going to go down under Dyche. Look, they weren't doing very well, but I never once thought this season that Everton were going to drop. Look, they're good defensively. They pick up 0-0s under Dyche here and there. Yeah, it's just going to get slightly better under Moyes. And as I said before, you gave your analysis, I didn't need to watch it. I knew how it had panned out because I've lived and been through it for 5 years collectively under Moyes. Look, there's the whole field, 2 wins. That was always going to happen. Put aside some bizarre tactics from Tottenham, I think they beat them last week. And yeah, look, was it the right thing to take Moyes back there? I don't know. I don't know if they keep picking up wins like this, then maybe. But I didn't think they were ever going down, so I took it as a bit of a bizarre appointment to start with. Listen, wish Moyes well, and he'll get a good clap from us in March when we go up there. But just going from, Sean said it a couple of weeks ago. If they were getting rid of Dyche, there had to be a significant change in what they were doing, and it's gone from Dyche to Moyes, and it's just. I don't particularly understand that.
I do get that. They're very similar, but I just think, I'd say it's the main reason that they're not too annoyed with it is just because of what he's done before. I think if it wasn't for that, I think they'd understand, what neutral frustrations are. But I just think because they love Moyes so much because of what he's done for them before, And it is a lot of both negative managers died towards the end of it. It was just horrific to watch. That ball, which I know Moyes also can be, we're already, I know my granddad's noticed the throw more went forward on the break. They probably still look even harder to beat than did in the Dyche as well. Now that's what Dyche is all about. But Moyes will get you hard to beat and he'll get you good in the break, which is probably what Dyche couldn't. I expected a more ambitious appointment for the new owners. I thought they want sort of a big name sort of thing, and I think if they were going to get someone like Moyes, I was hoping it'd just be to the end of the season to steady the ship. But giving him a 2.5 year deal, I'm also not fully convinced. But it's been a good start, and if you can get him just back to an established mid-table club, then I think in 2 years' time he can walk away and they'll hopefully get someone a bit more up and coming, younger, and just a more ambitious appointment. So I think that's the plan. Because they were just fed up with Dyche by the end of it, to be honest. So if you can just get them back to mid-table club, then I think they'll be very happy, and I do believe he can do that with a couple of years.
Yeah, there we are. Interesting. Everton's new song, Turn at the Back, Ethel in Attack. That sounds about right for Super David Moyes, doesn't it? Michael, I hope you are well. Had a good day Sunday. Hearing about the rain. Oh, the rain. It was miserable. Right? I thought it was foreboding what was going to happen on the pitch beforehand. Got absolutely soaked. Walking to the ground, right? And I thought, here we go. This is just going to be one of them days. But it wasn't, to my eternal surprise. Josh's granddad's in. I hope you are well. Right then, we will go next to the Vitality Stadium. Something to get your teeth into here, Sean. Something that I didn't quite expect. Not on this magnitude. Bournemouth 5, Nottingham Forest 0.
No, we didn't expect this sort of drubbing. I know Forest have been a better side at home. And I think Bournemouth are on a hell of a run, aren't they? I don't know the exact stats, but they're on a hell of a run. It was a shot. Obviously, they've got about 10 players out as well. I think it's only about 3 or 4 starters, but they've got about 10 out. I didn't think Forest would get rolled over this easy. I think we sort of touched on it a little bit the last couple of weeks. Like, at what point do they sort of hit the buffers? Do you know what I mean? The type of football Forest are playing, I think I'm right in saying they've got the lowest percentage of the ball in the league.
I think it's between 20 and 30% on average.
Yeah, so they rely on the hard work, they rely on the powerful counter-attack.
Yeah.
I think at some point that is, although they've done brilliant, I'm not knocking them, that's quite one-dimensional football a little bit. So I think there's probably a not this sort of stuff against a team like, an informed Bournemouth. Didn't see that coming. You just got to give credit to the Bournemouth manager, I think, more than anything. Do you know what I mean? He's got players missing. I think he's got the benefit there, and this is not knocking him in the slightest compared to other teams. He's only got I know they're in the FA Cup still, which I think they beat West Brom 5-0 at home in that, didn't they?
Yeah.
He's only really got the Premier League. He's got no expectation. He's probably got one of the lowest expectations of any football club in the Premier League, probably. Do you know what I mean? That's probably fair. So there is very, very little pressure. And I think he's just benefiting from that and embracing it. And I think they play with a bit of a freedom. You can see there's no pressure on the players at all. I think you might see that now and again. I think how he's doing there is probably a little bit how some people expected, to a lesser degree, expected Luton to be like last year.
Yeah.
Remember the little stadium? Teams going to hate going there, blah, blah, blah. But Irano, he's brought that sort of Spanish flair a little bit.
And also, they can't go without saying that I think he was winless in his first 10 there as well, and they stuck with him, right? And they've reaped the rewards of it.
But again, that I know they have hired and fired a little bit, like most teams have, but the pressure's off there. And if you give a bit, I've said this for a couple of seasons. I know they might not go down because teams are getting dragged into it, but how the promoted side's poor they are. I touched on Forest, on Palace last year, remember? And your lot when you were looking for a manager. You can stick with a manager a little bit. If you've got faith in him, you can stick with him. My lot are probably doing that as we speak. Do you know what I mean? But I think he's going to get more and more people look at him. I think it's a bit harsh on Bournemouth, but I think people are already sort of mentioning what his next move might be. What sort of step would it be? I don't know, but he's going to get a lot of clubs looking at him. I just hope when he does move, because he will move, and I think he's good enough to not necessarily keep the form up, but good enough to be punching Bournemouth punching above their weight. I just hope for his sake he gets the right move, because Graham Potter, for example, that step was probably too big at Chelsea. It was probably quite a random appointment at the time. It was too big. He went in the Lions Den, and then he's been out of work for over a year.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And now he's back rebuilding his career. So I put him in a similar boat to Graham Potter to an extent. I do hope for his sake, when clubs come knocking, he's ballsy enough to turn a couple down if they're not right.
Absolutely, yeah. And listen, I didn't see this coming, and maybe this is the first bump in the road for Nottingham Forest. It's just been utterly bizarre how invincible they've been, beating teams left, right, and centre with 20 or 30% possession. It's yeah. I mean, they Bournemouth haven't lost a game since the 23rd of November, which is astounding. 11 games unbeaten, and the Cherries train just keeps on going. Right, next up, before we go any further, Terry, I hope you are well. Moyes is a good stabiliser. He keeps you mid-table. I think Josh is right. I think it's all about steadying the ship until the summer. Forget about the long-term contract. Next up, we'll go to the Etihad. Now, this had the ingredients of being a very good game. It was an okay game in the end. Man City 3, Chelsea 1. Josh, Man City are bizarre at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah, I thought the other week after they beat Ipswich, I thought they'd turn the corner, and I thought they could easily go and win 14-15 on the spin and maybe even challenge for the title again, as they normally do second half of the season. And then they got beaten the week against PSG. They blew a 2-0 lead and lost 4-2. Apparently that could have been a lot more as well, didn't see it, but apparently they were very poor there. And then at the weekend, they go in with another good performance and win as well. Got off to a bad start for them. The new centre half that he signed, I've never heard him, to be honest, but he had an absolute nightmare, really, didn't he?
You had to feel for him, didn't you?
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen the graphics guy put up. It's after about 7 minutes, and it's something like passes completed, passes attempted 3, pass completion rate like 0% or something, and it's after like 6 minutes. It was just brutal. I think he got took off second half or early into the second half. He had a nightmare of a debut. Young centre half from a new league. It's always going to be tough getting put straight in at the deep end against Chelsea in the Premier League. It's going to be hard. Yeah, they had a bit of a I feel sorry for him. Chelsea started well, but after that, I didn't really think they threatened too much. Thought City were all over them then. First half, they had a few chances. They had one disallowed, Marmouche. I can't remember if they got the goal before half time, but in the end, second half, they did enough to comfortably win. Chelsea's on a bit of a dodgy reform at the minute. They were looking like they were title challengers and just before Christmas. I think they've won one about 6 or 7 now. They're on quite a bad run of form.
Yeah, they've got the mighty Hammers next, Josh.
Oh, well, you at home, are you, for that one?
Away.
Well, you never know, because they have been playing quite poor recently. As I say, I think it's about 1 win in 7 now. Nicholas Jackson, he's on a bit of a goal drought as well. Palmer's been doing too much lately, either. So about the last 6 weeks, they've dropped off a fair bit. Still going to get top 4, but they have dropped off. As for City, I do think they have maybe not turned the corner, but they're not as open as they were, just before Christmas. I think since then, I'm pretty sure until the PSG game, they were unbeaten since I think it's something like the 22nd of December. So they have been doing a little bit better recently. They're not as open. I still think it's too much a challenge for the title now. I think they've left it a bit too late, and I still don't think they're even good enough to put a run together now. But I think they will go on and comfortably get top 4. That was a good performance from them at the weekend, but pretty sure they can still go out to Champions League. They've got to be Club Brugge and then hope that other results go in their favour. So, but maybe that might do them a favour in terms of the league if they go out. But we'll see what happens. But I do think they are sort of turning the corner a bit now. City and should easily go on and get top 4.
Yeah, 2 clubs unpredictable this season. Yeah, I watched the start of this game. I didn't watch the second half, but I saw the absolute mare that the new signing has, and even Gary Neville expressed a bit of sympathy towards him, which just about sums it up. And yeah, not nice at all. I thought the City game was decent. Enjoyed. Yeah, it was. It was open. It wasn't a bad watch at all. Expect City to make a run now and challenge Arsenal. So wouldn't it be brilliant with how bad and what an awful run City have been on for them to finish above Arsenal? That would be mildly amusing. No, I got one ticket with Chelsea away, and it was an under-20 ticket. So, Dad, you wouldn't have got away with it, and neither would Terry. So, well, yeah, I'm the one that puts in the yards. I put in the hard yards, but I've got to sit in the back. I've got to edit a vlog. I've got to, maintain my online profile. So it's honestly a tough time. Talking of tough times, let's go to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. That's a lot of T's in consecutive sentences. Spurs 1, Leicester 2. I was somewhere in a wet and damp and horrible Birmingham when I saw this, but there was a few wry smiles in the away end. Sean, what on earth happened? Everybody put it down. Our Spurs will win today. Spurs will win today. They'll be above us, right? And they weren't.
Put it this way: don't read or listen to too many former players, pundits, TalkSport, or what they're saying, because a lot of them are guessing a little bit. It's 3 or 4 things. This probably won't be a quick one, Jake, to be honest. But firstly, we do have mass injuries. That's just a fact. Secondly, a bit like what we said about the Bournemouth manager a minute ago, because we've got to play in Europe and in the Carabao Cup, we're playing the same group of 13 players far too much. So basically they're visually you can see they're fatigued as anything. When the week come up and we're away to Hoffenheim in Europe and home to Leicester, I thought a draw over there and a win at Leicester would be a good week. We actually haven't played bad in either game, but our legs are just visibly going, and it is a big concern. Against Hoffenheim, I thought we were very good for about 50 minutes, and then we more or less had to park the bus and hang on. Like, we've got players out there that have played more minutes than anyone in the country at the moment. Like, Kulusevski's struggling to get around the field. Porro can get up, but he can't get back. So there is that. I think we've got Europe this week, and we've got 15 players unavailable. Added to that, because I'm just stating facts, so that is a visual fact. We've got mass injuries, but overplaying certain players, the fatigue is through the roof. Added to that, and hasn't helped himself with a lot of decisions either. Like, we've got 15 unavailable in Europe this week, partly because he didn't name a few of them in the squad to play in Europe. On Sunday, James Maddison. I'll jump to James Maddison. He took a little knock against Hoffenheim. There's pictures of him coming into the ground with his usual pillow for some reason. Pictures of him going into the ground, not in the squad. So from going into the ground, then he's not on the squad. Now he's out for 3 weeks. Do you know what I mean? So it's a bit something suspicious there. So a couple of things that griped me at the weekend, because Leicester they weren't great. They had 2 good chances scored, but we couldn't field a fit team. I think at the moment we've got eight players over 18 available. 8. Only 8, right? Now that goes on the club, who've known a lot of this since the 1st of January. We've done nothing at all by a 21-year-old keeper, who I quite like. So yeah, we've had all months to sort that out. So there's that strange thing with Maddison. The fact that the club is letting us go down this route. The only players we seem to be linked to are 2 youngsters for the summer, and that's Tyler Dibbling at Southampton, and there's Angel Gomez. Is it Leo or Leon? One of them, I can't remember. Yeah. They're both talented players. They're both young. They're both coming in the summer, maybe. Now, I think going forward, if we survive this season, we're going to have a hell of a young squad, but we've got to get there. But back to Ange, a couple of really bizarre things, like Papi Sarr come off injured again. No, he didn't even play against Hoffenheim. He's injured, okay? Ange said, I had to play him because we had no one else, okay? They scored a goal, this is down to Ange's tactics. Their second goal, bear in mind we just gone 1-1, so you normally all right, let's keep it solid. Pape Sarr's making a run down the right wing, and Lucas Bergvall, another very talented youngster, is more or less playing at number 10 as they're running with no one closing them down through the centre midfield. Pape Sarr's making a run down the right wing. It's like, He's not. If you look at the goals, you find that neither of them are even the shot. As they're like, no one's closing them down. No. But back to Sarr, he wasn't fit to start. Okay, we've got Sergio Regular on the bench, not good enough for us probably. A fit left back. We've got a centre midfielder who rated as one of the best youngsters in England. Centre midfielder playing at left back. Now, anyone with a bit of common sense would move Archie Gray in the centre midfield, where he played the last half an hour, and put Reiki and start Reiki on at left back, and play him as a natural six. They don't score that second goal if you do that, and that is on hand. Just some baffling things where I feel for him. He's massively up against it, but when he makes decisions like that, I'm thinking, what are you doing there? Do you know what I mean? It's just there's no logical sense to it other than just maybe thinking too hard, trying too hard. And I know you'll come on to Villa and West Ham next, and to a lesser extent, like I watched it and I think Villa are struggling with fatigue with the Champions League this year. I thought they looked very flat on Sunday, and I think that's probably where your hard work and a bit more organisation under the past manager brought you into the game. I thought Villa looked very, very flat for a large part of it. But the amount of players we've got out, and we're playing. I think I've seen the list of players who are available, and we've got no options. We're completely dead on it. Son, he's having. Some would say, he's having a lazy pundit would say, Son, he's having a poor season. Glenn Hoddle even on Thursday. Tottenham need more help from their senior players. He's been massively overplayed. He's a fit lad, but he cannot run up and down the field Sunday, Thursday, Sunday, Wednesday. Do you know what I mean? Not many players in the Premier League can do it, and they've had to. Kulusevski's class the first third of the season. He's running on empty. Do you know what I mean? It's visually, you can visually see it. I know people that are in the ground on Sunday, and after about, I can't remember what time, it was just after half time. I think it was towards the end of the first half. I spoke to them, they said, we were sat next to each other in the ground, and they said, if Leicester score, we're in trouble. It wasn't that Tottenham were dreadful and that Leicester were outplaying them, because they didn't. But Leicester scored, but Spurs just didn't have any energy to create anything after that. It is the lack of energy, and it is worrying. I don't know how it's going to change. If you're playing Tottenham are playing 2 games a week every single week. Every single week. We've got Evsborg, I think, in Europe this week where we can qualify. Then we go to Brentford. Then we've got Liverpool in the Carabao Cup at Anfield. Then 3 days later we're at Villa in the FA Cup.
I've just looked at the fixtures, and it is umbrella. I mean, in just in terms of the Premier League, Brentford next away, then Ipswich, Man United. I mean, you lost to Ipswich at home. That's got to come. There's Man United in there. There's Man City. There's Bournemouth. Yeah, concerning. 15th. I don't know. Sean, quickly wrap things up. Go on.
They've got. I don't know when does the window end at first couple of days of February this year or something.
Is it the first of February? I think.
Is it the first? Is it? We need a couple of bodies in. I'm not confident we're going to do it. The club are trying to glamorise over it by a minute ago. Mickey van der Ven back in full train. Romero's back. I don't see us winning many more games for a little while. I think this might drag on because we can't get 11 fit players on the field. And I know you like watching Tottenham, Jake. If you watch us, we'll play good football for about 40, 50, maybe an hour if we're lucky. And then you watch us hang on. We look like we've got lead boots on, and that is what it is. We just so much fatigue in these players' legs. We almost need to swap an 11 out and put a different 11 in. That's where we're at.
Well, I mean, the one positive, Sean, is at least your fans can tick off a few new grounds in the Championship next year. So that'll be nice for them. A little bit of variety, a little bit of change. We'll go to Villa Park. Aston Villa 1, West Ham United 1. I'll go first and then let Josh give his Villa side of it. I thought we were quite unlucky, to be honest. We got absolutely pummeled in the first 20 minutes, and I thought, here we go again. Scored inside 7 minutes, and I had visions of another 4 or 5 nil battering coming our way, and I was politely proven wrong in that sense. There's still the defensive problems there. It is present. That was shown by the goal, and it was shown by the first 20 minutes. We couldn't handle a simple straight ball through. I mean, Villa didn't exactly have to do much to get the ball through and penetrate our pretty weak and feeble defence. That is still a concern. However, things got better. I thought we had a really good spell to end the first half. We almost didn't want half time to come. We put some really, we had some good chances. But overall, Villa edged the first half. They were brilliant in the opening stages and probably should have doubled their lead and got themselves out of sight. But they didn't. And I'd say from probably about 35 minutes, then for the rest of the game, I thought the ref lost it completely. I was in the ground and I was bemused. I mean, even, I don't know whether it's just in isolation, I noticed it, but Villa had a free kick and it was in a pretty dangerous position on the edge of the box. And the foul was given, I think it was on like 57 minutes. They didn't take it till 59 and a half. It took 2.5 minutes to set up and take a free kick. That seems to come into it more. And he was like, rushing around. He didn't have a clue, the ref, right? And there was injuries and there was a lot of stoppages in the game and he didn't know whether he was giving drop balls or free kicks. He just didn't have a clue. And he lost it. And look, Alvarez should have been sent off. Absolutely. You had Tyrone Mings catching the ball. I mean, it was just utterly bizarre in so many senses, and I couldn't get my head around most of it. And I thought it was poor for both sides. And Mings went off, and Villa had to sort of mix things around a bit defensively, and we capitalised. And we had so many chances in that second half. And me thinking cynically, we should have won that game. I mean, Danny Ings went close. Paqueta had countless chances. Souček had a header on the back post, carbon copy to the goal, and he put it over. The one man you'd want on it, Thomas Souček, squandered a chance. We had loads of chances, and we had the offside at the end where Paqueta tapped it in. There was ample opportunities for us to win that game, and we didn't, but we'd have all taken a point beforehand. That's what we've got, and I'd take a point on Monday against Chelsea. Josh?
Yeah, I thought first 20 minutes we were absolutely all over it. I thought we could have been 2 or 3 up at least. And then as soon as Mings went off, I thought it was very stop-start from then on. For some reason, we decided to put... We now only have one fit centre-back. So for some reason, we decided to put Luca Dean left centre-back. Emily said after the game it's because he wanted a left footer next to Mings, which I'm not sure that's true because he always used to play Condon and Carlos together and they're both right footers. So I just think he didn't trust the young centre-back we had on the bench, Lamar Bogard. He obviously didn't trust him, which is strange because he trusted him to come on in midfield against Arsenal the other week. Went off injured, but then he wouldn't trust him to come on and play centre-back against West Ham when he puts a 5'9" left back at centre back. So I just thought that was a bit bizarre from memory, and that really cost us. And he's completely capitalised on that, as you said. I thought from then on we probably deserved to get beat. To be honest, for you had enough chances second half to beat us that I wouldn't say we created anything second half at all. And once again we failed to win after playing in a week in Europe in a week. I think we've only won 1 all season after playing in Europe midweek. It just keeps happening. We seem to start games well, and in the second half we just can't see them out. Just as Sean was saying before, just fatigue. Can see it clearly. Not used to it. Obviously, we played in the Conference League last season, but you can rotate it a lot more, and obviously the intensity of the games are nowhere near as high as when you're playing some Bosnian team than when you're playing the elite teams in Europe. The intensity is obviously going to be very different. And I just don't think we're coping with that very well at all. First 8 to 9 games this season, I think we were third in the league, third or second in the league. We were really decent. And then as soon as the games started coming thick and fast and a couple of injuries have crept in, now I've got 1 fit centre half. It's just, we just seem to have crumbled a little bit. I think our form since after about 10 games in, we're probably about 12th or 13th really, just because of the good start we had, which is why we're still in and around the European places. I thought the second half was really poor. As for the referee, he just completely lost it. Mings catching the ball, I'm not sure if you see it, but in the Champions League, you can see the penalty for picking the ball up a couple of months back as well. So I don't know what it is.
It was just bizarre. And Josh, just to interject, I mean, we were down at the complete opposite end of the ground in the lower tier there, and I was watching it, and the throw in went up, and he just caught it.
Yeah,
And like everyone around just went ballistic, like, and the ref and then he just like wandered a little bit, and then he stopped, still on the pitch conveniently, stopped, and then he went off, and then the ref didn't do anything. I mean,
yeah. I mean, the Sky commentators didn't even say anything about it. They were just going about how he was injured, which obviously you do feel sorry for him because he's had a hard time with injuries. But you're supposed to just sit down and just wait on the floor. You're not supposed to.
It's completely unnecessary.
Yeah, and at least like I don't know if they say now if you hold your head, then they have to stop the game.
Just hold your head.
Even do that. But it's risky catching the ball, especially with what's happened to him this season, I'd say, with that penalty. So that was a bit strange. And then I thought from then on, we just looked really unsettled and rattled. We had to put Digne left centre back. And then the rest of the first half was really stop-start. That one free kick you had, it must have took about 2 minutes to take as well, where Paqueta and Digne, everyone just
there was that fiasco as well.
Yeah, it was just awful. And the ref just completely lost control from then on. That the Alvarez, that was just a blatant second yellow card. He's completely bottled that. It's late on in the game, and he has just went through. He bottled it. It's a blatant second yellow card. He also should have been. There was one on McGinn just before as well, where he's pulled them back on the halfway line, but the ref said play on. So the
only reason, the only defence for that I've got is Alvarez's initial first yellow card was for he got tripped up and he fell over and he picked the ball up and he booked him. So I wonder whether the ref in the back of his mind was thinking, well, hang on, I booked him for picking the ball up, but then I didn't book Mings for catching the ball.
Yeah, no, I get that, but that Alvarez, he's a walking red card. I know, I think he's been sent off a few times. He's just one of them South American midfielders who just he likes to tackle. But I thought the referee, he just completely lost it from about minute 30. It was just so stop-start. He wanted to make it about him, but he had no control whatsoever. Just a really poor performance from about, I'd say, minute 30. I thought we were lucky to come away with a point in the end. So we've got Celtic at home tomorrow, a chance to get in top 8 of the Champions League. So that would do us a big favour, because then we wouldn't have to play in Europe until March, which would really help us out. Whereas if we have to go through that playoff, then we have to play the end of February. So that game against Celtic should be interesting. Look, it was a bizarre game, and from our point of view, we had 4 full-backs on the pitch. We had 1 fit centre half. Our first 2 strikers were out, Bowen and Somerville out. I'd have taken that beforehand, and that's what we got. And I walked away satisfied, but almost a little bit. We could have won that. Bittersweet to an extent. A bizarre game week, and we will be back. It won't be next Monday because I will be in the glorious West London at Stamford Bridge next Monday. So it's that was a joke, Sean.
I wouldn't go.
Why not?
I won't set a foot in there. I can't stand. Wouldn't go to Stamford Bridge if you paid me. Take me in a limo, helicopter. Wouldn't go. Just refuse to go there.
Fair enough. And to finish things off, I've been to Villa Park 3 times and I haven't seen us lose once. So I'm taking myself as a good omen at Villa Park. 2 wins and a draw. So all in all, West Ham fans should be thanking me for the point. Sean and Josh, I will probably see you next Tuesday to dissect the next round of games. Thank you very much indeed. And Sean, you might be a little bit closer to the relegation zone by next week.
I doubt it. Hopefully the bottom 3 will lose. We aren't looking at the results now, I assure you.
Sean's looking behind his shoulder. Sean's now monitoring Ipswich's results, right? What is the Premier League?
As I said, I don't see our results improving greatly fast. It could be a 50-50 game against Villa in the FA Cup. I know Ange's quite good against Emery. That could be a 50-50 one, but I don't like it at the moment. Not playing 2 games a week, we can't cope. I mean, just as simple as that.
It is an absolutely bonkers season in the Premier League, but plenty to get our teeth into. Josh and Sean, thanks as always. I'll see you next week. But until then, come on, Lions, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Cheers, gents. Thank you.